Hey everybody, what's going on? Today I want to start diving into doing guides and tutorials on how I do all my digital art. So just bear with me as this is going to be a new type of tutorial and guide that I've done before. But let's go ahead and dive in anyway. So the three main programs that I use for doing digital cartoons and comic strips are Photoshop, Adobe Animate, formerly Flash, and Comic Life. And by no means I want to sit here and tell you that I'm some amazing expert. I've just been drawing cartoons for a very long time, starting off on paper, scanning into the computer, doing the art there and coloring it, and then over time moving to a full digital workflow. So I'm lucky enough, and if you don't have one, I understand, but I have a Surface Studio, so I am able to draw right on the screen. Before that, I've had Wacom's, have had no issues, really love those devices. Outright great devices, but I am in love with my Surface Studio, and that's going to be what I use. I draw all of these comics digitally. So I start with Adobe Photoshop. Now I've set up a template, and I've actually included a link below right now to a store I'm working on continually improving that template, as well as my own business in and of itself. But don't feel like you have to download this. If you guys want, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see if I can't put a specific tutorial together just for making my templates that I use to start all my processes. I would say that is the most important step when getting started, because once you have that done, once you have that core strategy set up and ready to go, you can build off of it really easily and fast. And then you can spend ideally most of your time focusing on writing the joke and then drawing the art. So I start with Adobe Photoshop, and you're going to see that going off right now, probably in a little fast paced mode. And if I don't have a real solid joke or script or whatever, I'll just write it out on its own layer in Adobe Photoshop. So you can see, you just create a new layer, you just, use your pen and write out your script and kind of play around with it. It's always fun for me to see where I start and then how I finish. And so once I do all the sketching, I have a specific sketch layer that's going to use a blue pencil brush at a 14 point value. So it's got a nice little thin kind of style to it. I do all my sketching in that layer, and from there I then export that, or from Adobe Animate I import it. Both of my files that I've set up have the same dimensions, and I'm working with very large files here because that's my preference. I really like to zoom in. So my sketch is in Photoshop, and it's done that way because that's, I find, easier to draw in than in Animate, but I find that I like the lines and I like the colors, and I really like how Animate functions from an object perspective, because then I can go and create lots of objects and save them into my library and then recall them at any time. So if I want a really beautiful and complex background, or if I want to be able to drop in trees here and there, I can create varying types of objects in Animate and reuse those very easily. I'm sure I could probably do the same thing in Photoshop as well, but again, I'm still kind of bouncing around back and forth. I'm sure that maybe if I'm watching this in 5 or 10 years, maybe I'm working 100% in Photoshop, but anyway. So with an Animate, I go and I carefully draw basically what I would consider my inking lines on top of my imported sketch. From there, I have made sure that I've created various layers that have, and you can't really see it, but it's got the binding box for the comic strip, where if I draw outside of it, you're not going to see it because I created a masking layer in Flash as well. And I'm going to try to get a link to that so you can actually download these specific files as well, but we'll see how that goes over time. And then from here, after I do all my inking, then I go and proceed to do my coloring, and then I set my background images. So it's from here that I've created kind of a very colorful, very almost finished piece of art, and that's where Comic Life comes in. And the reason I like Comic Life is because I've played around with Photoshop and I've played around with making my own text bubbles, and it just hasn't hit me the way that I like actually in Comic Life, because I can create the text bubbles and I can reposition them. So this again is a 3-app solution, and hopefully it's something that you're going to take advantage of, whether you do all three, or this hopefully gives you some kind of way forward to create your own art. And that's where I want to, I guess, say the most important thing. Do it. Make it. Make your cartoons. Make your art. Don't let anyone stop you. Don't let anybody say it's not marketable or it's not good enough or your art's not good enough, who cares? Do create, draw, make. Anyway, that's my horrible motivation speech out of the way. And then Comic Life is great because I can really put the text in. I can kind of change it around. I can update my text bubbles and reposition them as I play with and finalize the cartoon strip. And so once I've done that, then I export that into an image and then import that back into Photoshop. So we end where we begin. And with Photoshop, I'm able to go and take and actually build out various actions that just streamline the rest of the process. So adding in the text, the headers, any kind of Twitter tags and things like that that I want to add in, crop it, save it, and export it, and it's ready to go. So you then are, I would highly encourage taking a look at actions. And again, if it's something that you would like me to make a specific tutorial on how to make one, I believe I've actually got some in the video behind me, and we can go from there. But like I said, I'm really working to start out doing more tutorials that are outside of games. So for that, I hope this has been somewhat helpful. If it has been, let me know. If you have any tips on how I can improve my process or how I can improve this process with guides, I love to hear them as well. So for Work to Life, my name's Brian. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope you get out there and you draw something amazing. But until then, take care.
Thanks for watching. YouTube has a pretty cool video waiting for you over here. Our latest vlog is down below. For those of you new, subscribe is over here. And all of our other contact info is just right below me here. Thanks for watching.